Hello friends, my name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel. So I don't know if you've seen this trend going around YouTube, because for me, I saw this trend going around YouTube like 2 to 3 weeks ago and I was like, this is something I totally have to do. Then I watched those videos and then those people said it was like 3 months old already. So I think I'm a little bit behind, but I am going to be tier ranking some of my favorite or not favorite YA books. I'm going to show you how we're ranking them in a second, but that's what we're doing today. And so I have picked a bunch of different books that I'm excited to talk about and share my thoughts on in like a quick overview style. And so like without further ado, let's just jump on in. So here I have my screen, I have the different categories, and I have my books at the bottom. I think there's around 17 books I want to discuss, and you can kind of get an idea of the rating system. Perfection is obviously the best book ever. Outstanding is really, really good. Enjoyable is something, you know, I enjoyed reading. Mediocre was like, it was pretty solid, but like, would I reread it? Would I recommend it? Kind of iffy on that sense. Disappointing, a book I wanted to love, but didn't. And then bad. Originally I called bad garbage, but then I felt bad for calling an author's book garbage, so then I just decided to call it bad. Anywho, we're going to start off with Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, I don't know if you've seen me talk about it on Instagram or anything, but I actually buddy read this book and really enjoyed the buddy reading process. But as for the actual book itself, I have to say it was disappointing. That book had got so much hype just in general, and the series is like super long. I think the author gets a lot of hype. I read that book and was disappointed severely. I think I gave the book a 2.5 stars, I believe. I really was not impressed with what I was reading. The concept was good, the beginning was interesting, but then as the book went on, I just more and more knew that the book was not going to be something for me. And so this book definitely falls into like the disappointing tier, because was it the worst thing I've ever read? No, there were some good elements to it, a couple of them. Was it enjoyable? No, it was kind of painful to get through, and so that's why it's kind of in the disappointing category, because, you know, it was a disappointment. Next, let's do one of my more interesting reads, Shatter Me. Shatter Me, I originally read, I believe, in March of this year, I want to say. It might have been earlier or later, I'm not sure. But this is actually one of my favorite series that I now have. I really enjoy it, and honestly, I would recommend it. However, I have to say, the first book of Shatter Me is definitely in the mediocre tier. I'm going to explain why. The same thing with the Shatter Me series as it is for the School for Good and Evil series. The first books are both bad. Like, I'm sorry, but they kind of are. But then as you go on with the series, you realize there's this whole other world and character dynamic and different relationships and goals and struggles. It's amazing. But the first book kind of sucked. So in Shatter Me, one of the main things that bugged me was the love triangle in it. It just seemed so forced and like overdone that I was like, what are we even reading? Then after the books go on, it gets so amazing. But the first book, I think I gave it a 3 because I really wanted to like it, but it could have been better. It could have been better for sure. That's why I'm putting it in the mediocre tier. I think if Tahira Mafi were to rewrite the book, oh my god, it would be amazing. Let's pick another one. Let's go with To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Now, I'm sure you know, I kind of used the Netflix adaptation cover, but it is adapted to Netflix. You can watch the movie, and I think the second book now is coming there as well. And so for this book, I gave it an enjoyable rating. I think I read it last summer, and I remember really liking it. I really liked the Netflix adaptation too. And while they were a little bit different, I honestly liked both. It's not necessarily something I would reread, but if someone was like, I'm thinking of reading this, would you recommend it? I'd say yeah, it was like cute. We got some good dynamics there. The sister dynamics were really cool. And yeah, it was an enjoyable book. What more can I say? Next, let's talk about one that I am passionate about. Let's go on to The Cruel Prince. This one is an outstanding automatically. It blew my mind. It was almost perfection. It's kind of imperfection, but it's not quite there, just because I feel like there's even more we can see. But honestly, I loved it. I gave it a 4.5, I believe. It was so good and outstanding. Like, it blew all my expectations away. I listened to the audiobook and the audiobook was fantastic. I'm so excited to read The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing once it comes out later this year. And honestly, if you love like high intensity like fantasy worlds, this book is for you. It's a little hard to understand at the very beginning, but once you like are in the world, everything makes sense and the story is so good. The ending is phenomenal. And so this book in all aspects was outstanding. Another book book that I want to talk about is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Now, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, I actually read a couple years ago. I wanted to reread it just to, see what it was all about, and I also believe I read it for I read BookTuber's favorite books. You can check out the video over here if you want to see more of my thoughts. But I actually read this book and I found it disappointing. This is a favorite of many, I know. It's widely loved and it's very structurally well done. I love the photos in the book too, but I think I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, which as we probably know is not that good. That's because I had high expectations for it. It got so much hype from Jesse the Reader and my friend. A lot of people seemed to love it and it seemed like a cool concept too. And so reading it and not enjoying it wasn't really for me. I didn't really relate or enjoy any of the characters we saw, and so that was a big reason of why it is in the disappointing tier. So I want to talk about Fracture Me next. Fracture Me is the book I believe in between the second and third book, and it follows Adam's perspective. And I'm not going to say too much about what the book is about because that's spoilers and stuff, but personally for me, I found Fracture Me pretty not good because it kind of repeated the character Juliet's perspective we see almost entirely. And I think I gave the book a 1.5 out of 5 stars for a reason that you can read in my Goodreads review if you want to check it out, just don't want to spoil anyone. And for that reason, I have decided to give this book a bad tier. Putting it in the bad tier kind of hurts because I don't really want to do that to any book, but that's kind of what it deserves, not gonna lie. This book was boring, it repeated itself, there was no real point to it. I'm never gonna reread it, I'm never gonna recommend it. I don't see the reason why anyone would like it, to be honest. It just seemed really pointless, and I feel like we could have benefited from seeing another character's perspective, like Kenji. Kenji's a real one, okay? Kenji, favorite side character, not favorite, but one of the favorites. So yeah, that was just kind of disappointing. On the Shatter Me trend, let's go to Defy Me. The complete opposite of what I just said. It is outstanding. It is one of my favorite books in the Shatter Me series. I gave it a 4.5. I believe I gave Ignite Me and Defy Me both 4.5s. They were amazing. So good. I'm so excited to see how the series ends with the final book coming out really soon, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to see how the world ends and how all the characters finally come to be. It was written so well, and I love the characters, and the way the story just opened up, it's crazy. It's so good. Highly would recommend reading the series just to get up to that book. Next up, let's grab Fault in Our Stars. The Fault in Our Stars is by John Green, and if you've been around for any time and paid any attention to the young adult book community / movie community, you'll know that The Fault in Our Stars did indeed get a lot of hype. And for me, I didn't really follow the hype that much. I'm giving it an enjoyable rating because as I was reading it, I enjoyed it. But I remember some of my friends saying, oh my god, at the end I was bawling, it was so sad, but it was so good. And then I was at the end like, I didn't really care that much. I'm sorry, I know it deals with sensitive topics, but I didn't care about the characters. I don't know why, but I didn't have those same emotions other people did. I enjoyed my time reading it, nothing bad about it. It just didn't hit me in the way other books do. Let's jump on to a good one. We're gonna go with Radio Silence by Alice Osmond. Now, if you want to hear more of my thoughts with Radio Silence, you can click the video up here. But I love this book. I have listened to the audiobook twice, and both times I've given it 5 out of 5 stars, and so 100% this book is perfection. If you are in high school, I would say grades 11 and 12 specifically, but 9s and 12s as well totally can relate. Even first year of college university, second year college university, I think you should read this book. It is not only written extremely well, but the concepts it deals with will relate so much to your life. It's unbelievable. I read this book and the way certain characters felt, I could totally relate to. And then I saw other comments of people how they related to other characters, and it was amazing because there's so many different attributes to this book, but it's such a simple plot, but there's so much going on. It's amazing. Alice Osmond, I've only read one of her books, but honestly, it's so good. It's so good. She's just amazing. If you're in high school right now trying to figure out your life, or even past then trying to figure out your life, Radio Silence is the book for you. Like I said, the video that I linked over here if you want to check out my full thoughts, but it was so good, and I would highly recommend it. And just to balance it out, let's pick a not so favorite book. We are going to go with Again But Better by Christine Riccio. Now, I really wanted to like this book. I really did. In fact, I read it twice. First time I read it, I was so engaged in the hype that I completely I don't even know. Literally, as soon as I closed the book, I forgot everything I had read. I don't even know how that's possible, but it is. And then I reread the book a couple weeks later, I think, and I realized it wasn't as good as I first thought. I didn't really enjoy the characters as much. I found them always being super happy and just kind of unrealistic, and I didn't really like the love story too much. So it's kind of in the disappointing tier because it wasn't that good. I'm really excited for Christine's second book that she writes and eventually publishes because I'm sure it's going to be better because she's going to learn from her mistakes and make it better. But Again But Better, I didn't really relate to it or enjoy it too much. I think I gave it a 2 out of 5, which isn't that good, as we know. So that's all I want to say there before the internet attacks me, but that's about all I can say. It wasn't that good, and as much as I wanted to like it, I didn't. Let's go with Warcross. Warcross is a book by Marie Lu, and honestly, Marie Lu is one of my favorite authors. She's amazing. Her books are so good. Literally all of them that I've read are just amazing, and so to follow that trend, Warcross is no different. I'm putting it in the outstanding tier because it is indeed outstanding. The book itself, the characters, the plots, the technology we see in the books are all so well done. I love Amika Chen. She's amazing. And Hideo, oh my god, I love them with all my heart. They're so good. What else can I say? And the concept is so good. The way everyone interacts with each other is so cool, and I just loved it. So it's outstanding for me. If you haven't read it, what have you been doing? Get on this. Read the book. It's so good. Following up with Warcross, let's talk about Wildcard. Now, Wildcard is the sequel to Warcross. It is a duology, so it is technically the last book in the series, if you want to call it that. Normally, like in movies, they'll say like the first one in the series is the best, and then everything after that isn't as good. However, this book was so good, I think I am putting it in the perfection tier. I actually made videos on the Warcross duology. You can watch them up here if you're interested, but I actually don't think I was rating books at the time, so I don't even have like a rating for them. But all I remember is the feelings they left me with. Warcross was amazing, but then all I can remember is finishing Wildcard and just being even more blown away than I was in Warcross. There's plot twists and new things happening at every turn. Normally plot twists, there's like one major one at the end of the story. It was happening like in the middle of the book, and there were so many and things I didn't suspect were happening. It was just so good in every single aspect. The way everything was explored and we learned more about characters and backstory. Oh, it was so good. And so honestly, while they are really close to how much I love them, like both of them together, I think I'd like Wildcard honestly a little more. So that's why it's in the perfection tier, because it is simply perfection. Let's pick another good one. Let's go to The Selection. Now, I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys. The Selection is outstanding. It is also one of my favorite series of all times. I think there are 5 books in the series and a couple like extra tidbits as well of short stories, and honestly, I really liked it. I liked how it's a cool mix of a contemporary and fantasy, as it's kind of like a bachelorette type competition but takes place in like a futuristic world, which I thought was really cool. And I loved the characters we saw. I thought we got to know them over the series as well, but especially The Selection I think starts off the series really well. I loved it, and that's why I'm putting it in the outstanding column, because that's what it deserves. Let's go another one. Let's go with We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Now, I honestly also wanted to really love this book too, but I don't think I did. I think I read this book last summer, and while I don't have a rating for it, as I don't think I rated books back then, I am rating this book in the enjoyable tier. I really liked it, but by the end of the book, like, I heard some people either hate the book or love the book, and honestly, I'm neither. I'm kind of in the middle because the ending twist was kind of confusing for me. The book kind of builds up to something, and then when it happens, I was like shocked but like confused. Like, I did not see anything like this coming at all, but like not in a good way. And so I enjoyed the process of reading the book, and I enjoyed the narrator. It didn't fill me with the satisfaction that other books do, and so hence for that reason, I'm putting it in the enjoyable column. I would reread it and recommend it, but for me, it wasn't at the next top 2 tiers. Let's pick another one. Let's go with Red Queen. Now, if you've been on this channel a while, you know that I've recommended Red Queen countless times. Honestly, I reread it over the summer, and I need to reread it again because I don't think I was ready to reread it. I have such an emotional tie to this book because it kicked my old favorite series out of the way, And so for that to happen, I had to have like such a good connection with the story. However, upon my reread, I don't really know if I liked it as much as I did before. However, just for the time being, before I reread it again, I'm putting it in the outstanding tier. I really want to put it in the perfection tier, but I can't make that justification yet before I reread it again. When I reread it over the summer, I loved the characters and the different dynamics and the world and the powers. It was so cool. The concept is cool. I just need to reread it to know if it's perfection or not. But honestly, I love the series. All the memories I have and like moments I remember and feelings I have after the books are also positive and amazing, and I loved the conflicts we see between like the internal and external conflicts between the characters and the worlds. It was so cool, and I don't know if it's perfection or not as of this moment, but right now I'm saying it deserves an outstanding level because it is an outstanding book. And now let's drop some tea. The worst book I have ever read is The Barcode Tattoo, dropping into the bad tier. Now this is the first and only book I have ever given a 1-star rating to, which means it's pretty bad. A couple years ago, I gave 4 or 5 stars to literally every single book I read because I loved everything. And now as a more critical reader, I've been giving a slightly lower reviews for things. Maybe 3s, maybe 2s, but to get a 1 star, you have to suck. I'm sorry, but this book was bad. I might even say garbage, really, but it was bad. The concept and the reason it was bad is because also there are many reasons why it was bad, but honestly the concept sounded so good and the execution was horrible. And then the ending was the worst ending I've ever seen. Not to mention, there's 2 more books in the series, meaning some publisher somewhere was like, this flaming hot garbage, we need more of it in the world. And so for that reason, not even for that reason, I did not like it, would not recommend it. Honestly, I might even reread it just to hate on it. I'm sorry, but it was bad. It was bad. To end on a positive note, however, we have The Hunger Games. And like I said before, if you know anything about me, I've talked about The Hunger Games a lot on this channel, and it is in the perfection tier. This was actually the series that like was my all-time favorite series before I read Red Queen, and then that kind of took my top place. But now I think I actually have a new favorite series, which is over here. It's the Shades of Magic trilogy, which is kind of hard for me to say because like I have other favorites too, but I think that's my new favorite. But The Hunger Games will always be like in my top 3 or 5 or however many top books because it is a series that got me started into reading, and it has been amazing all the years I've reread it. I read the first book over the summer, and I'm planning to reread the others as well sometime soon, and I gave the book 5 out of 5 stars. The writing is simple, but the concept and characters are amazing, and so just because there's simple writing doesn't mean it can't be a great book, and so it deserves being in the perfection tier, and that's the tea. And so I loved it so much, and I hope other people do as well. I'm really excited for the next book to come out in the Hunger Games series because I did not know that was happening. I don't think anyone else did. And then here we are getting that content though. And so I'm really hyped. What can I say? And so yeah, that is my tier ranking video. I've been really wanting to make this video for the past couple weeks, and I'm really excited that I finally got to. I had lots of fun doing this. I hope you guys did as well. If you want to see, I don't know, me tier rank some other books, I don't know how else I would do it, maybe some contemporary or some fantasy or something like that, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you guys liked it. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And like I just said, comment down below if you want to see more of these types of videos. If you enjoyed this video, all that kind of stuff. And so that's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you soon with a new video. And so until then, bye.